Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're talking about my brand new bike, my Yeti SB165, which is in front of me right now. I'm admiring it, looks beautiful in the sun. I've had a lot of good comments and a lot of good feedback on this build, probably one of my favourite builds, if not the favourite. And it seems that way with you all as well. You seem to really like it, which is cool. And yeah, just an awesome bit of feedback throughout the build video and the first impressions video that I did. And I've had a lot of questions about the build, why a certain product, and setup, and any little tips or tricks. And we're going to dive into all that today, and any questions, get in the comments, but drop a like on the video if you are stoked on the uploads and the brand new bike. Looks insane. So let's get stuck into the details and run through the parts. So here she is. This is my Yeti SB165 enduro bike, size large, as you can see behind that, in a beautiful raw carbon. You can see on this camera it even does a good job of how nice it looks. So yeah, we'll start with the frame. This thing is a size large and comes in a black carbon and is a 165, which means 165 mil of travel in the rear. I have this thing fully ride wrapped, which means the frame is protected, and I highly recommend you do that, especially if, I mean, someone like me, or like the majority of you that watch the channel, probably buy your own bikes like me, so you can peel this off when you're done with it and it'll just be brand new, or look brand new, and you can sell it for more. Second-hand market's pretty difficult, so you may as well give yourself the best chance. Size-wise, this frame fits perfect for me. I am 5'11" and I weigh 86 kilograms. But yeah, the frame's a perfect size for me, and standover height and everything is just pretty perfect. I cannot complain about that. The 165, this is also a mullet setup. When I mean mullet setup, I mean smaller wheel in the rear and a larger wheel up front. So it's 29, 275, 650B. And I just prefer the mullet setup for everything from cornering to handling to being able to pick lines and get better line choice and feel like the bike has more agility, is the right word? Yes, agility. I can just move about faster, do what I need to do, and get the line I need to get and be more precise. So when I feel like I'm on a 29er, I just feel like I'm in the bike too much, and the wheels are like there, like right either at my ass or at the front of me, you know, like the front end feels a lot closer. So that's not a feeling personally that I like. So yeah, that's it for the frame size and everything. Let's move to the suspension. So this is a RockShox Vivid Ultimate coil shock with adjustment and hydraulic bottom mount. I was about to say high-speed bottom mount, but some people corrected me, so thank you for that. Hydraulic bottom mount, which comes in handy. You've got the rebound adjustment here, and then you've got the lock here, which closes it, and it's completely, I wonder if I can show it. So that's it. Firm setting and open. So yeah, I don't really close it at all when I'm climbing. The bike, the suspension does not bob really at all, so thumbs up for that. Love the shock. This is a 550 spring, I believe. Yep, 550 pound spring, and I feel like that's the sweet spot for me. And then obviously up front we have the beautiful red Zebs. These are 170s, and I have 2 tokens, 94 psi, which is quite stiff, 6 clicks of rebound, and then I believe low speed's in the middle and high speed is possibly in the middle, or 2, something like that. But yeah, Zebs for me, I prefer the feeling of these things, and obviously they look beautiful. To have your suspension dialed is important, and to have it set up, and everybody's different. Just like those numbers I just listed off there, might not work for you, but it works for me. I prefer a stiffer setup. I don't want to be blown through the travel a lot. And then I feel like the chassis and the crown of the fork is stiffer, and I just prefer the supple feel that a Zeb gives me over, say, any other fork that I've used in the past. So I'm happy with those and highly recommend them. And these have the brand new 3.1 damper. I didn't spend enough time on the previous damper, so I can't really tell a massive difference or remember. So far so good, love them to bits. Next we'll move on to the pieces of machinery that are stopping me when I need it. and we have gone with the SRAM Maven Ultimates. I believe these are tie bolts in here, but these are the fancy ones. These are the best high spec you can get. Nice silver, and followed by, we'll go to the rear here to look at the caliper, and a beautiful red caliper in the rear, which really complements the red on the rest of the bike, which is very cool. So I'm running these SRAM Mavens front and rear paired with Galfer 203 rotors, and I feel like that's pretty bold in a sense. These brakes are probably the most powerful in the world. I have watched many reviews online and then even just making up my mind for myself. They feel incredible, and I really like the lever to be pretty close to the bar, and that's the only amount of movement that I have. So it's pretty instant, really. I don't like to be able to have to reach out far from my lever, which is just unnecessary. You want to be able to just like sit your hand on your bar, and that's it. That's the way I go about it. If you set your hand on your bar like this, the lever should just be there. You shouldn't be having to like rotate your wrist, which causes problems in arm pump, etc, etc. But yeah, so far so good. Really like them. First for me running the SRAM brakes, and I'm very happy. Another thing that's kind of worth mentioning that I've mentioned before in the channel is I run my levers pretty flat. Maybe not as flat as someone like you, Borelli or Remy, Metaille, but pretty flat. And I feel like, again, that for me is just I can put my hand on the bar, rest, and the lever's just there. I'm not having to rotate my wrist forward, not having to rotate my wrist back. So it's just comfortable. There's a wee tip for you if you want to give it a shot. But yeah, for me, the Mavens, I did a 3,000 meter day the other day, climbing on this bike, and obviously it climbed brilliant. I was super impressed. That's like, we did 7 or 8 hours of solid riding, like climbing. Did like 11 or 12 descents, and the brakes were consistent and the same throughout the whole day. They never faded, never pumped up, just consistent, the same throughout the whole day, which is so important, and I'm very happy with that. And then, like I said, they're paired with Galfer rotors and Galfer pads, and I have the Pro pad up front, which is when you feel the pad, it's more grainy, so there's more power, more grip. And then I'm running the Performance pad in the rear just to try it out, which has a longer life and is less grainy. So I'm just trying that out. Probably will go to the Pro pad front and rear. They won't last as long, but they'll give me more power. And luckily, having awesome support from Galfer, I can kind of get as many pads as I want. So highly recommend you trying them out and going through that combination. Next up, let's talk about Cockpit. This is a 40mm Birdtech stem and 38mm ride high Birdtech bars. I prefer a higher rise bar. I actually cannot straighten my left arm fully from having a big injury like 8 years ago or 7 years ago. It's never been the same, so if I can have a high front end, then I'd love that for the bike to be closer to me. I have quite a big stack under here. Maybe not as big as someone as Jack Moyer that I've seen, but this does me perfect. And then I've got a little bit of room to play with at the top too, which is cool. And then controls, we actually have 7-speed on right now because I am going to Paris tomorrow for some urban stuff, which is cool. And I wanted the EXO, which I usually run EXO axis. So these are EXO cranks, beautiful piece of machinery. Bash guard here, 32 tooth chainring, which just comes stock, and we're running on Crank Brothers mallet downhill pedals with the pins completely wound in. But yeah, the 7-speed will just keep kind of things out of the way, short cage mech, and it runs beautifully, perfect. 11-speed chain, or it could be 7-speed chain, but I think it might be 11. 7-speed at the back, EXO cassette, GX derailleur, 7-speed. But I normally run the wireless EXO axis, which is cool. And then we've got the reverb here, which is in 170, and got the wireless thing there. It is not, because it's only 170, it's not as tall as it's not as big a post as I would like it. They might come out with a longer one, but for the time being, I just undo the bolt here and just raise my dropper up or down, whether I'm descending or climbing, and it's super straightforward. It takes 5 seconds, so I'm not fussed about that. I'd rather have a lovely working seat post. And then Birdtech saddle, I'm not gonna lie here, this thing's called the Cloud, but it does not feel like you're sitting on a cloud whatsoever, so the name doesn't really go. Looks nice, it's light, but if you're doing 5, 6, 7 hours in the saddle, I do not recommend this, so I might change that out for an Aragon saddle. And then yeah, we're running Birdtech grips. These are new for me, just trying them out. My friend has them, yeah, give them a shot. Kind of like them, getting used to them. Next up, let's go to the tires. So Back with Maxxis this year. We were running a DHR2 in the rear, and I went for double down Max Terra, just not full soft compound and not full downhill casing, but it'll roll a bit better. And I'm kind of getting used to this thing, it's nice, but I'm not sure about it in the wet, so we may change that. But then up front, we are sticking to the good old trusty Assegai, and this rubber has been in the sun, so it's extremely soft. Crazy. And this is a double down as well, but I would normally run downhill casing, and these are attached to some beautiful M9 Envy Pro rims and Envy hubs. These were not cheap, but I love the feel of the carbon wheels. I cannot get away from them, honestly. Running a wheel that is reliable and that I can trust and I know is safe and won't break on me, because I've been with Envy for what, 3 years, and then we parted ways coming into this year due to like them having budget cuts and going in a different direction. But I went out and bought a set of wheels myself because I trust them and I like them that much. So I think that speaks volumes on the product. Yes, they're expensive, £2,000+, but they last. They last for me anyway. I've genuinely, promise you, never broken a wheel or a rim. I'm just straight back to them. I'm not going to chance it by getting a wheel that's cheaper and then having to replace it if something goes wrong with it. I know what I'm getting, and you know, if you're not thinking about anything when you're riding on your bike and you're not thinking about a certain product or how something's working, then it tends to be that that's the thing. These are the things that are the best. When I ride my bike, I want to be able to ride it and not think about a product or like, oh, is this going to last, or how's this feeling. Just want to ride my bike, enjoy it, and forget about what's on my bike and the components and trust them fully. So that's why I went with probably one of the most expensive wheels and went and bought a set, but do not regret it. I'm also not running any tyre inserts. I did like maybe 3 years ago, but pulled them out. I don't really see much advantage to it. If anything, it's a disadvantage with weight. It's maybe a little bit of cushioning if you're hitting rocks and stuff all the time, but it's just unnecessary weight. And you know, a lot of people are like, oh, I use inserts to protect my wheels. I don't really think it's probably not a good thing. You should probably trust your wheels without inserts in them. And especially, I'm doing a lot of gnarly stuff and a lot of fast riding. If someone like myself is not damaging wheels and I don't have inserts in, then God, you must be picking the wrong lines or have some sort of bad bike setup, but each to their own. Another thing that is good and that is important for me is the internal routing, and this is completely internal, so there's no rattling around of any cables. If they do go through, there's a cable going through right now because I've got 7-speed, but when I have full axis wireless, there's nothing in the frame apart from the rear brake, which is super nice, and that's why my bike is so quiet. I'm intrigued to see how this thing goes. This is a very controversial thing that is inside the frame. Kind of can see it. This is the Infinity Link, which is the Kashima, two little Kashima shafts that move ever so slightly when you're riding, and I guess it's for pedaling efficiency over small bumps and stuff, so we'll see how that goes. I have heard and seen a lot of people in the comments that have been put off by this thing, but my goal is to ride this enough that needs replaced, and then I can show you the process, and as a customer, go to your local bike shop or Yeti dealer and get this thing swapped out, and they will support you and give you a brand new one. So hold me to that, and we will do that this year, and I will show you that you should not be put off by this thing whatsoever. And then obviously I have little tips and tricks. I have my cables like tied up together so they do not rattle around the place, and then just internal routing, wireless, and a nice suspension platform and setup creates a quiet bike and a planted bike. This thing is handled amazingly, and I honestly love it to bits. Would highly recommend, and I hope you like it. I hope you've enjoyed the process of the build video and stuff. Yeah, I'm honestly hyped on it. Love it to bits. Such a good looking bike. If you have any questions, get in the comments below. Let me know if I've missed anything, and I'll do my best to reply to you. But I just wanted to give you little bits of setup and some tips and a run through my bike and why I have the products on my bike that I have. And it's good to see that you all appreciate my complete honesty. Yeah, I really appreciate all that. So tune in this week. I will drop a video if I can. I'm away to Paris tomorrow for some very cool different videos, and hopefully I can bring you along for all that stuff, which will be cool. So stay tuned. Way you can do that is by subscribing. I know a lot of you that watch my videos are not, but I would appreciate if you just hit subscribe. and yeah, we're still plugging away, and I'm loving doing the channel and trying these different bikes out. So thank you for tuning in. Peace out, and we will see you in France.